So I heard about these two friends that they were driving on Louisiana, the United States, and as they were approaching the town of Natchitoches, they started to argue and to discuss how to properly pronounce the name of the town. And it was back and forth, and actually it got really heated, this back and forth discussion on how to properly pronounce Natchitoches. So as they entered to the town, they stop in the first restaurants they see. They enter, and they talk to the man who was working there. I said, excuse me. He said, can you please settle an argument that we have here? Can you say slowly how to pronounce this place? And the guy leaned over the counter and said, Burger King. Sorry, I wanted to do something food related because it's Yom Kippur, you know. I want to talk to you today about procrastination. This is almost like a continuation from my sermon from Rosh Hashanah, when I was challenging you and me to leave our comfort zone and to keep moving forward toward our destiny. And this is the thing, because it's very easy to put things off. We have good intentions. We have good plans. But the problem is, we want to do things, just not now. Maybe later, right? So we say, maybe one day I will join the gym. One day I will put my finances in order. One day I'm going to call that friend that I offended many years ago. And the thing is that one day never comes. We are constantly making excuses for everything that we don't do. We say things like, well, you know what? I'm going to spend more time with my family, but not just now because I'm very busy. I'm going to start coming to shul more often when my kids are a little older. Or you know what? I'm going to start that diet, but not just now because I'm going through a lot of stress. You see, we are experts on justifying our inaction. So that reminds me to a poem that I once read on the internet that is attributed to this cookbook author called Gloria Pitzer. And she said, procrastination is my sin, brings me naught and sorrow. I know I should stop it. In fact, I will tomorrow. And I believe that the reason number one that we are not where we want to be is not because we don't have the resources. It's not because we don't have the time. It's not because we don't have the opportunities. It's because of procrastination and excuses. This is what happened with King David. And this is an amazing story and an amazing lesson for all of us. King David, when he was still a boy, he was the youngest of the 12 sons of Jesse. Jesse was the father. So David's brothers, they were serving in the Israel army. And the army was called to fight the Philistines. So the thing is, there was a valley, and in one side of the valley was the Israel army, and in the other side of the valley were the Philistines. The Philistines sent their hero, Goliath, to challenge the Israelites. So Goliath came day after day to mock and to challenge the Israeli camp. And the thing is, the Bible says that on 40 days, nobody there to challenge this Goliath. They were afraid of him. They were saying, he's too tall, he's too strong. His armor is too thick, so nobody there to do it. One day, Jesse sent David to the battlefront because Jesse wanted to know what was going on with his sons. They didn't have internet in those days, so they sent little David. So when David went there, he witnessed Goliath making fun of the Jewish people. So David asked around, so what's going on here? So, well, this guy is coming day after day looking for somebody to challenge him. And nobody wants to do it. And David said, okay, so what happens if someone challenges this guy and he wins? And the challenger wins the battle. And so, oh, in that case, King Saul will give that person tremendous honor, and it will release that person's family for paying taxes to the kingdom. And David said, I'll fight him. So he went to talk to King Saul and said, King Saul, I want to fight this guy. King Saul said, are you crazy? He said, have you seen this guy? Have you seen how big it is? Have you seen how powerful it is? He said, no, I will do it. I said, okay, do you have any weapons? He said, well, I have a sling. That's it. And he takes 5 stones. That's it? Yeah, that's what I have. So David went to confront Goliath. And you know the story. He takes the sling, makes the shot, and hit Goliath in the forehead. They said that the stone sunk into Goliath's forehead, and the giant collapsed. And David won that battle. And I was thinking, what an amazing story. Because David could be like everybody else, creating all these kind of excuses. Well, I'm too small. I don't have military experience. All I have is a sling and 5 stones. Nevertheless, David knew what he wanted to achieve. He always wanted to live in palace next to King David. So he didn't have any excuse. He didn't even delay his action. He went, he battled Goliath, and he succeeded. So this is what makes me think, I don't think David was any comfortable with doing what he did. But what I learned from here is sometimes we have to do what we don't feel like doing if we want to live the way that we want to live. Sometimes you have to do things that you don't feel like doing. But this is because in the future, you want to live in some specific way. In life, you can make excuses or you can make progress, but you cannot make both. See, we human beings, we have the tendency to run away from discomfort and run towards comfort. Yom Kippur is challenging us to rethink the way we approach life. Because God is saying to us that we are going to achieve atonement on Yom Kippur. But first we have to fast. And you know what fasting is? Fasting is there to make us uncomfortable for 24 hours to achieve atonement. So the question is, will you be willing to be uncomfortable now, to be atoned uncomfortable in the future? Or you're going to find an excuse to be comfortable now? But see, the thing is, you might be uncomfortable in the future. I think I don't know how many of you couldn't make it to the beginning of the service. I understand. We love to stay 10 more minutes at home, right? We want to have one extra piece of challah. We want one more piece of the strudel or the chicken, right? It feels great. But then you come here, there is no parking. You miss the cellist. It's because we love to procrastinate. But then we realize that by procrastinating now, we miss the opportunity tomorrow. So again, Yom Kippur is time of resolutions. But Yom Kippur is to remind us that sometimes in life, we have to do today what is uncomfortable so we can have a better tomorrow. Shanah Tovah and Gmar Chatima Tovah.